Welcome. Settle in. We're here today to witness, a violent birth. A judge, you see, forged from the ashes of a brute. This isn't some grand epic. It's an intimate, internal drama playing out on a cosmic scale.
So right off the bat, we're starting at the end, with a choice. This is the final prognosis, the moment where it all comes down to two paths. It's a choice between, on the one hand, utter, complete oblivion, and on the other, a terrible, brilliant, and painful becoming.
Now, to really get what this choice means, we have to set the stage. We open in the suffocating fog in a place called the City of Ash-Use, and it's here we find our protagonist, the Striver, on his knees.
In this place, everything is just heavy. Everything is weighed down by what the source material calls the spirit of gravity. And lurking in the rot and spilled wine of the city, something primitive is watching. It's waiting. And here he is. Meet the original tempter, the Sentinel of Resentment. If we're talking psychology, this guy is the id, pure and simple. He's that part of the psyche that's all about raw, primal instinct. All he wants is what he wants, right now. Just pure, unfiltered impulse. And you can see just how crude his methods are. This isn't some clever devil with a silver tongue, offering wit and wisdom. No, this is a creature of base, desperate need. He runs this vile little economy, trading souls for meat and wine. It's a simple transactional kind of damnation. But our Striver, he refuses to just stay as lead. A defiance starts to spark up inside him. It's a flicker of what the texts call the infinite light of the aurora. A kind of internal alchemy is about to kick off. So instead of just giving in, the Striver begins this grave dance on his own past. He starts to transmute the lead of his own mortality into the gold of stories. It's a raw, defiant act of creation.
And this act of creation, this inner fire, it basically makes the Sentinel obsolete. All of a sudden, he's not looking at a soul he can just barter away. He sees a fire in the veins that he doesn't have, and boy, does he want it.
And this right here is the crucial point. Look at the steps. This isn't a temptation anymore. There's no contract, no fine print. This is a violent, desperate attack. It's a hostile takeover, driven by that raw impulse to consume that new fire. So the primitive id crashes headlong into the Striver's emerging spirit of becoming. And the result? It's a cataclysm, a violent liquefaction of the soul. The Sentinel gets absolutely scorched, melted by an alchemical fire he can't even begin to understand, a fire he was never meant to touch. And this is where things get really twisted. From the molten slag of that brute, a totally new entity emerges. The id, that force of pure impulse, gets forcibly transmuted into its polar opposite. The superego, that internal judge, the moral conscience. The simple agent of damnation has now become the presiding officer of the whole trial. Okay, so the stage has completely changed. We're not in a city of ash anymore. Now we're in a cold, clinical, cosmic theater, the architecture of stagnation.
And our Striver, well, he's not a Striver anymore. Now he's the Stargazer, and he's sitting in his gilded cage that he built himself. He's putting on this virtuous face, but inside, his psyche is just rotting away. And his newborn judge, the Crimson Reaper, is preparing the trial.
So, how does this new Reaper operate? Well, it's not with fire and brimstone. No, his methods are much more subtle, much crueler. He uses what's called the weaponized uncanny. He takes all the Stargazer's familiar comforts and turns them into threats. First up, the comforting, steady passage of time. It becomes an executioner's clock. That relentless ticking just strips away any illusion of safety, revealing the stark, cold reality of mortality. And it's not just time. The sky itself becomes a prison. What was once homely and familiar becomes terrifyingly unhomely. The watchful eyes of these ravens make sure there's absolutely no psychological escape from this clinical trial of the self. So the stage is set, the pressure is mounting, and now the judge summons his final witness, an honest guest. And who is this guest? It's the ghost of the brute that he himself used to be. From the Stargazer's own reflection steps the Duke of the Abyss. This is Thanatos, the death drive, the primal id making a comeback. It's the old Sentinel, but now it's wearing the Stargazer's face, and it's here to offer a merciful way out.
See, he frames oblivion not as a failure, but as a cure. He calls it the logic of zero.
It's a therapeutic release from the agonizing tension of just being. Just surrender, he's saying, and all the pain will simply stop.
But here's the real twist. The High Judge, the Reaper, he doesn't actually pass a sentence. He merely presents the alternative. This is the physician's paradox. The only way to forge a sovereign self is to survive this final crucible.
And right here, this is it. The final choice, laid bare. On one side, you've got surrender, the grand silence. On the other, the incredibly difficult path of becoming. And that's the paradox, isn't it? The very pressure that was designed to destroy the Stargazer is the one thing, the only thing, that can catalyze this Nietzschean metamorphosis, this self-overcoming to claim the will to power.
And this is what's called the logic of one. It's about not just surviving this complete dismantlement, but using its very fire to forge a sovereign, integrated self. It's about choosing to embrace that volatile, lightning-like existence.
And so, that's where we leave our Stargazer, at the threshold, facing a choice presented by the very judge he himself created. And I'll leave you with the final question to ponder. When your judge is born from your own triumph, what does it even mean to win?